I want Democrats to learn the lesson of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, because for the first time in years, Trump is underwater on the issue of immigration, and it's no accident. For far too long, leaders in the Democratic Party have listened to well-paid pollsters and consultants who told them that immigration was the third rail of politics, an issue we can't win on, so it's best left avoided. And no politician embodied that stale orthodoxy more than Joe Biden. When Joe Biden became president, he reversed some of the worst elements of Trump's immigration agenda, but he also kept a lot of it in place. Bad policies like Title 42 that created a bottleneck in our immigration system that ultimately burst. But far more consequential than his policies on immigration was his overall communication strategy and messaging. For 4 years, Joe Biden treated immigration as the third rail, an issue only discussed when absolutely necessary, and rhetoric that sounded like Diet Republican. Part of that was Biden's inability to talk about immigration, or anything else, with clarity. But another part was a calculated strategy that should be put in the wood chipper for any Democrat who wants to lead this party going forward. I say all of this not to pile on Joe Biden, though he deserves it, but because Democrats are at risk once again of not learning the lessons of the past on immigration. In the case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, new polls show that by a 16-point margin, voters believe that he should be returned to the U.S. A majority of voters oppose sending people to prison camps in El Salvador without court hearings. And maybe most surprising, a majority of Americans disapprove of Trump's handling on immigration, one of his top issues. But in large part, that had nothing to do with elected Democrats. In fact, for weeks, people like me have been begging Democrats to get in this fight. Only recently did leaders like Senator Chris Van Hollen step up. That's because too many Democrats have been trained to avoid this issue. When Democrats retreat from an issue, we cede the ground to Republicans, and they fill the void with lies, misinformation, and fear-mongering. Do you know what Joe Biden's policy concessions and avoidance of immigration earned him? A 31% approval rating. The lesson here is simple. When we fight back with conviction, when we lead with our values and talk about the outcomes and impacts of Trump's agenda on people, we win. Whether it's family separation, the Muslim ban, or his new renditions to prison camps in El Salvador, Trump's polling has been at its worst when Democrats are forced to abandon the orthodoxy and fight back. And no, I'm not advocating for Democrats to make immigration the center of our election strategy, but I am advocating for trusting the American people to know right from wrong when they're presented with two sides of an argument instead of one. And somewhere along the line, we lost that trust, but now is the time to find it. Because once again, Trump is targeting immigrants to launder some of his most authoritarian actions, and they won't stop with immigrants.